Hi, I'm Jeff. This is Lithic Metals. Welcome back to the lab. This is day 3 on this experiment. Yesterday we precipitated or cemented out our silver. It has settled to the bottom. We have a few crystals that are clinging to the sides, but for the most part I think the fluid is pretty clear. Most of that material is settled to the bottom. So today we're going to start right away with siphoning off most of this material, and then we'll filter and start cleaning up our silver here. But step 1, let's get this funneled off here, siphoned off. Goes quick. Oh, no, we lost it. I'm not sure if. Just check this line here quick. It's a pretty big tube for doing this siphon. I should have grabbed a thinner one. However, yeah, that was a pretty big tube for siphoning this off. I should have grabbed a thinner one. I believe. I'll rinse that off. I think it'll be worth it to drag a little bit more off. So I'm going to refill our siphon. Almost there now. Not quite sure why I did that. Alright, we have the bulk of our material siphoned off. I have a Buckner funnel set up. I switched over to my plastic Buckner funnel. that I use strictly for silver. You might see some of the silver nitrate stains on it. The stuff is, once it's in there, it is tough to get off. But yeah, so it looks dirty, but it's in great shape. It's been through a lot of uses. So I'm using plastic here now because it just becomes advantageous later on in the process. So why don't we just get started right away and let some of this material start filtering. Looks like we got a ton of silver in there, but we really don't. You'll be surprised. We'll get all this probably to fit in here and squish down into one nice neat cake. Might make two out of it. Let's see how it settles. Might just be easier to filter through in two separate batches. Nice little cake of silver there. All right. Well, we are far from done from rinsing out our silver. You'd be surprised at how much copper can be held within the fluid that's still clinging to this material. So we are going to boil up some hot water. Well, we're going to boil up some water, get it hot, and we're going to run a few filtrations through this material. More technical difficulties. Alright, we're set up here. We filtered off our solution. We have our silver waiting for us here. I've heated up some water and we're going to start applying some hot water treatments here. Stir that around a bit. I have to be careful not to drag your stick along the bottom. Don't want to tear the filter. Gotta find that fine line. Circle around and go lower and lower every time until you finally hit the bottom and back it off a little bit. As soon as you stir the silver, it settles back down into a pretty thick pancake again. Some obviously floats and causes a slurry, but the vast majority of it just sinks right back down. In case I failed to mention, this is hot water. Hot distilled water. Definitely wouldn't want to use tap water. Oh my god. You put tap water into this, chlorine and whatever else they pop in there, that would cause a mess. You'd have silver chlorides forming, and it would be a disaster. Not a disaster as in you'd lose all your material, but you definitely would have to start over and use different tactics. It would not be fun. We'll avoid that at all costs. Well, this is day 3 of this experiment. Normally by day 3, on a real batch of silver, I'd still be working on the digestion portion of it. It's kind of fun to just blast through it all real fast. Alright, let's vacuum that off. We should notice we should witness a noticeable difference in the color of our solution coming out here. You want to make sure you rinse your cemented silver off real well. Every bit of remaining solution will carry bits of impurities, majority being copper. The more you leave in there, the more is going to get, well, I should say, the more you leave in there, the more impurities you're going to find in your shot after you melt this cemented silver down. That's not the end of the world. However, the more impurities you bring in with your shot, the more slimes you're going to have in your filtration of your silver cell. You want your solution to last longer. You want your filter bag to last as long as possible. But it's mostly your electrolyte. The more copper you introduce, the quicker your electrolyte is going to get spent up. After your electrolyte reaches, I think it's approximately 80 grams per liter, copper will start to plate out on your silver. So less impurities going in, the longer your solutions will last, the better everything will be. Let's hit this one. Wastewater still has color in it, surprisingly enough. You'd be surprised how long it hangs in there. So you just gotta keep going at it. We're gonna give this a few more treatments with the hot water. Some more hot distilled water ready. for our next step. Oh, I jumped the gun. Alright, let's turn some heat on here. And let's stick a 2 for this one. These filters are all going to go into storage along with this silver in here. You see there's a good amount got behind this coffee filter, but not much moved past the qualitative filters here that we have. Some did get through, but all in all, looks pretty good, and this will all be captured. I'm going to rinse, wipe that out. It'll all be captured and stored, addressed at a later time. It's very minimal, the amount that's there. It adds up over a few dozen of these procedures, but not with one. As this dries, a lot of these particles will fall off. I'm going to keep this on here for now because it kind of helps trap the heat in. But once it warms up, I'll take that off, knock some of that extra stuff off, and let the air get to it. Alright, we'll let it do its thing and check back on it when it dries up. $129, still a little ways before it heats up fully. Sometimes this can be fun. Other times frustrating. I don't have to worry about getting every little particle off. I can go back, and when I process the filters, whatever's left will be recovered then. This whole thing probably doesn't even contain a gram of silver at this point. Still, I'm going to let it dry a bit. More will just fall off, so. I can do it. Let's give that a bit more time. Yeah, I just got silver all over my gloves. I don't know what I was thinking. But it was a lot easier. Our cemented silver has had about an hour to dry. The easiest way to tell that all the moisture is gone is to put a lid on it, on the heat, and check for condensation. Our lid is dry to the bone. Our silver lightened up quite nicely. It's a little darker than I would normally have. I kind of skipped a little bit of rinsing procedure, but this will work just fine for what we're doing. This is probably close to like 96% or better, 97% pure, and I'd say we're looking at right around only about 12 or 13 ounces here. So our next step is to decide if we're going to melt this powder by torch or if we should fire up the furnace. I'll think about it and get set up.